And I have to say, I've got to agree with Abimelech here. What he's about to have when he's discussing this with God, it's like completely innocent.
Yeah.
Did he not say to me, "She is my sister"? And she herself said, "He is my brother." In the integrity of my heart and innocence of my hands I have done this. And God said to him in a dream, "Yes, I know that you did this in the integrity of your heart, for I also withheld you from sinning against me." That's funny. He's saying sinning against him, not against Abraham. Therefore, I did not let you touch her. Now, therefore, restore the man's wife, for he is a prophet, and he will pray for you, and you shall live. But if you do not restore her, know that you shall surely die, you and all who are yours. Like that, I'd have been like Abimelech, and we talked about this earlier about ignorance of the law.
Yeah.
You know, he didn't. He had no idea that in their family way, they called their husbands and wives, cousins, nephews, whoever, brother and sister. And he wasn't lying because that was his sister, his half sister. And she wasn't lying because that. So we have a really
Yeah.
a big mess that here they go again, trying to protect themselves instead of relying on God.
Mm-hmm.
And now they've gotten somebody else in the mix who causes God to be angry with. Yeah. And I'm not sure if I didn't think about this earlier, but I'm not sure if Abimelech or if God was actually angry with Abimelech because he is innocent. He realized, he even told Abimelech, "Yes, I know that you did this in the integrity of your heart." He knows that he was doing it from the information that he had, and that he was assuming that, hey, this woman is free for me to marry, and so, and I don't think he was telling them this in anger, maybe, but he was just basically warning them, "Look, I understand you were tricked, you were lied to in a sense. You did decide the integrity of your heart, but I'm telling you now, if you don't fix it, I will kill you. That's the only choice I have.
Yeah.
Because of my laws and such."
Yeah. He it's interesting that. So we find out that in Egypt they were struck with a multitude of plagues.
Mm-hmm. The country was.
Yeah. But here in Gerar, it's just Abimelech and his wives and concubines. And they're only struck with reproductive troubles. Mm-hmm. Their wombs are closed, as it says. They're infertile at the moment. And, we don't... It never says what came upon Abimelech, but just from the context, we can guess that it's impotence, ED kind of related, and that's how God stopped him from sinning. But it's interesting.
Not now, Tony. I got a headache.
Yeah, I don't think that would have flied back then.
Probably not.
But
just for clarity, we're talking about, like we said, months of this going on because we don't have reproductive for a week or so. We don't find out for 3 months. Yeah. So at least 3 months, if not more,
probably
to realize that they're barren, and this poor Abimelech has been struck with ED or whatever you want to
His bird ain't seen.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, and but the rabbis, the sages, thought to themselves, how do we explain the difference between the Pharaoh and Abimelech and how God treated them?
Mm-hmm.
Especially, so, I mean, basically, this treating them a certain way was based on their level of righteousness, human righteousness. And, Egypt was a thoroughly licentious nation, idolatrous thoroughly, and just in the wise words of one of our presidents, bad hombres. But it seems like the Philistines, because through history we see Philistines coming under Egyptian influence, but they're not fully there yet at this point in time. And one thing I just noticed, and I was checking while you were speaking, was, it's interesting that Abimelech notices that this is the Lord in his dream.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't call him any other God's name. Maybe he doesn't know what to call him, because he just calls him Adonai, just generic Lord. Could also mean Lord, Sir, what's his face? I'm trying to think of a sir from across the pond. I'm sorry, Britain. I'm not good with your titles, but it's the same title that one would use, the same way we would use it in English today, either Lord or Lord. But he's willing to recognize that he is, at the very least, a God, and that he should listen to him. Mm-hmm. And he wants to obey. So he is spiritually a step above the Pharaoh. And because of this and that and the other things that maybe we'll get to later, but the Philistines themselves are a little purer than the Egyptians, which is interesting, right? Because Philistines become arch enemies to Israel later. Mm-hmm. But in the beginning, they're not that bad. I mean, they are bad, but not that bad. And God honors that by making an appearance. And I find that fascinating. Like Jesus said, let him who have ears to hear, hear. He says, my sheep hear my voice, I know them, and they follow me. And Radak comes to the conclusion that the gift of prophecy is given to people of a certain caliber. Not everybody is a prophet. Not everybody, I'm going to say merit it. We know that the Holy Spirit gives the gifts according to his purpose, according to his pleasure. But you don't let a kid light a Roman candle and just walk away. You can't trust him. A 4 or 5 year old kid with fireworks or a firearm, God forbid. You only entrust them with that kind of technology once they've shown some level of maturity and ability to harness its power. It seems like the Radak is making that argument that God doesn't give just anybody prophecy. He gives it to people that are prepared to handle it the proper way. And Avimelech does that. He goes, okay, all right, are you gonna destroy us now? Well, no, I know you had integrity. He has integrity. God, acknowledges that. And he said, I'm not, unless you disobey me, I'm not going to destroy you. If you do, I'm going to kill you. I'm going to kill you dead. But I just find that fascinating that, every time I hear somebody say Abraham was the inventor of monotheism, like it gets the hair on my neck standing. It just irks me because and Israel is notorious for that. Abraham brought monotheism to the world. No, God did. and he was talking with non-Jewish people from the very beginning. Prophecy was not confined to Israel. Never has been. There's a reason why all the prophets in the Bible are Jewish. We'll get into that another day. But every nation has had prophets. Unfortunately, they didn't listen until the Son of Man came. But just seeing that fascinates me. How God did not leave any nation without a testimony to himself. Yeah.